It looks like you want a approximately 1,500-word emotional Christmas story based on that title. Here's a complete heartwarming tale you can use for a blog, narration, or social media. Christmas Tree Red Heart. She was rejected on a Christmas blind date, until twin little girls asked, "Will you be our mom?" Snow drifted softly over the small town of Maplewood on Christmas Eve. Lights twinkled in every window, and the air smelled of cinnamon, pine, and freshly baked cookies. For most people, it was the most magical night of the year. But for Emily Carter, it felt like the loneliest. Emily adjusted the scarf around her neck as she stood outside Holly's cafe, her breath forming little clouds in the cold air. She glanced at her phone again. 7:18 p.m. Her blind date had said he'd arrive at 7. Emily sighed and stepped inside. The cafe was warm and glowing with Christmas decorations. A tree sparkled in the corner, and soft carols played through the speakers. Couples laughed over mugs of cocoa, and families shared desserts. Emily chose a small table near the window. Her sister had insisted she go on this blind date. "Come on, Em," her sister had said. "It's Christmas. What if he's the one?" Emily hadn't believed in the one for a long time. Still, she had tried. At 7:27 p.m., the door opened. A tall man stepped in, brushing snow from his coat. He looked around until his eyes landed on Emily. He walked over. "Emily." "Yes," she said, standing politely. "Hi, I'm Mark." They shook hands and sat down. For the first few minutes, everything felt normal enough. They ordered drinks, exchanged polite smiles, and talked about work in the town. But Emily noticed something strange. Mark kept checking his watch. And his phone. Finally, after barely 20 minutes, he leaned back in his chair and sighed. "Look, Emily," he said awkwardly. "You seem nice and all, but I just don't think this is going to work." Emily blinked. "Oh," he rubbed the back of his neck. "My sister set this up. I didn't really want to come, but she insisted. I don't want to waste your time." Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "That's honest of you," she said softly. He stood. "Sorry. Merry Christmas." And just like that, he walked out. Emily stared down at her untouched cup of cocoa. The cafe suddenly felt louder, brighter, and more uncomfortable. She swallowed the lump in her throat. "Why did I even come?" She paid the bill quickly and stepped outside into the cold night air. Snow was falling harder now. Emily pulled her coat tighter and began walking down the street, blinking away tears. Across the street, the town square was glowing with Christmas lights. A large tree stood in the center, surrounded by families taking pictures. Emily turned toward it, hoping the festive atmosphere might cheer her up. She was halfway across the square when she heard a small voice behind her. "Excuse me." Emily turned. 2 little girls stood there, bundled in matching pink coats and red scarves. They looked about 5 years old. Identical. Twins. One held a small stuffed reindeer. The other held a candy cane. Both were staring up at Emily with wide, curious eyes. "Hi," Emily said gently. "Are you two okay? Where are your parents?" The twins looked at each other. Then the girl with the reindeer stepped forward. "Are you the lady Daddy was supposed to meet?" Emily frowned. "What?" The other girl nodded eagerly. "Daddy said he had a Christmas date." Emily's heart skipped. "Your daddy's name isn't Mark, is it?" Both girls nodded. "Yes." Emily almost laughed. "Of course." Before she could say anything else, a familiar voice called out. "Lily, Lucy." Mark hurried across the square, looking slightly panicked. When he reached them, he sighed with relief. "There you are. I told you not to wander off." Then he noticed Emily. His face turned red instantly. "Oh, hi." Emily crossed her arms. "So these are your daughters?" He nodded awkwardly. "Yeah, twins." The girls grabbed Emily's hand suddenly. "Daddy," Lucy said excitedly. "This is her." Mark looked confused. "Her who?" Lily grinned. "The lady you're supposed to marry." Emily choked on a laugh. Mark looked horrified. "Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry." Lucy looked up at Emily seriously. "Will you be our mom?" Time seemed to freeze. Emily blinked. Mark covered his face. "I swear they've been asking every woman that since their teacher read them a fairy tale last week." But the girls weren't laughing. They were watching Emily carefully. Lucy squeezed her hand. "We don't have a mommy," she said quietly. Emily's heart softened instantly. She knelt down to their level. "Well," she said gently, "that's a very big question." Lily tilted her head. "You look nice." Mark sighed. "Girls, that's not how this works." But Emily stood slowly and looked at him. "You left our date pretty quickly." He winced. "Yeah, about that. The twins looked between them like spectators at a tennis match. Mark scratched his head. I wasn't expecting this whole setup tonight. My sister practically forced me to go. Emily raised an eyebrow. You could have at least finished the cocoa. He laughed awkwardly. Fair point. The twins tugged Emily toward the giant Christmas tree. Come see the lights, Lucy said. Mark hesitated. Emily shrugged. Well, I'm already rejected for the evening. Might as well enjoy the tree. They walked together across the square. The twins ran ahead, giggling as snowflakes landed in their hair. Emily watched them, smiling. They're adorable, she admitted. Mark nodded. They're my whole world. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then he said quietly, their mom passed away 2 years ago. Emily's smile faded gently. I'm sorry. It's been an adjustment, he said. The twins returned, grabbing both their hands. Family picture, Lily declared. Before either adult could protest, a passerby offered to take a photo. The four of them stood under the glowing tree. Emily between the twins, Mark beside them. Say Christmas, the photographer said. Christmas, the girls shouted. The camera flashed. A strange warmth spread through Emily's chest. For the first time that evening, she didn't feel lonely. After the picture, Lucy looked up at Emily again. So, will you come eat cookies with us? Mark quickly said, you don't have to. Emily smiled. Actually, cookies sound nice. The twins cheered. They walked to a nearby bakery, laughter filling the cold night air. Inside, they shared gingerbread and hot chocolate. The girls told silly stories. Mark relaxed, and Emily laughed more than she had in months. When it was time to leave, Lucy hugged Emily tightly. Best Christmas ever. Mark walked Emily to her car. I owe you an apology, he said. For the date, for leaving like that, and for my daughter's proposing marriage. Emily laughed. Well, they're very persuasive. He smiled. Would you, maybe want to try again? A real date this time? Emily thought about the evening. The twins, the laughter, the unexpected warmth. She nodded. After Christmas. Mark grinned. From across the parking lot, 2 little voices shouted. Yay, our mom said yes. Emily laughed so hard she nearly dropped her keys. Maybe, just maybe, Christmas had brought her exactly where she was meant to be. Christmas tree sparkles 1500 watt.